What is happening, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ty behind the camera, and sitting in front of us is the 2024 Cadillac XT5 in the sport trim level, and we have some pretty nicely optioned out packages on this car that kind of make it one step above just a regular sport. Now we're working with the Argent Silver Metallic on the outside, which is a very complimenting color on this car, as well as the Cirrus inside color. So stay tuned so that you can check out the interior color of this car. Now throughout the video, we're going to take a look at the exterior first. We'll then pop the hood because there are a couple of different powertrains. We'll then pop the trunk, see how much storage space we have. We'll check out the rear seats, and finally finish up with the front seats, kind of detail all the features in between. And at the end of the video, we're going to take this XT5 for a test drive. So first things first, let's take a look at our lighting. We have a kind of cascading light design for this vehicle, which looks very nice. Kind of the upper portion has your LED high and low beams, and we also have daytime running lights and your turn signals. And then down below we have some cornering illumination, and it also finishes up the daytime running lights. We have a nice amount of kind of chrome as well as glossy black elements for the sport trim. We have kind of like this mesh grille for the sport trim. We have parking sensors that span the front bumper, and right below the Cadillac crest is a camera, which is one of 5 cameras around this vehicle for the 360-degree view camera system. Nice short hood that has an angle down into the grille. And if we take a look, we have some pretty nice looking optional wheels that measure up at 20 inches. The tires measure up at 235/55. And look at those red painted brake calipers. And on the Sport, you get these giant front brake calipers by Brembo. So that is a pretty neat feature of the Sport trim level. We have the Cadillac crest on the fender there. Black trim surrounding the windows and even up on the roof rails. Speaking of the roof, we have a full panoramic sunroof up there and the shark fin antenna. And our mirrors have some gloss black accenting, LED turn signal indicators, and your blind spot warning, as well as another set of cameras down below for that 360 view. We also have smart key entry on all 4 door handles, so you see this little silver button. You just tap that to lock and unlock the vehicle. Taking a look back here, we could have the window sticker and total options and everything. The MSRP including shipping is $63,585 on this particular XT5. We have the fuel door on the driver's side. We wrap around to a very beautiful taillight design. On the sport trim level, the lenses of the taillights are actually clear, so that definitely gives it a pretty nice look. But all LEDs back here too. You have the turn signals, brake lights and taillights are all LED powered. A couple of different badging back here. We have the XT5 in the upper corner, all-wheel drive down below. We have the Cadillac crest and the 400 badging, which will let you know what kind of engine you have, with the approximate Newton meters of torque. So if you have a higher number, higher output engine. Right below the Cadillac crest, we have the 2 cameras, one for the reversing and one for the camera mirror. And you also have the trunk release a little bit offset right over here. Again, parking sensors in the back, a little bit of gloss black on the bottom. And this little light right here, kind of blending into the chrome, is your reversing light. And then we uniquely enough have some silver trimmed exhaust. Now the XT5 has been out for a few years now, but I personally think this still looks great. What do you guys think of the styling on the XT5? Let me know in the comments. Alright, so we have 2 different engine choices on the XT5. We're going to start off with a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, good for 235 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque. That engine will come standard on the luxury and premium luxury trims, and you can get the choice of either front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, hooked up to a 9-speed automatic. Or you can opt on to the premium luxury, the 3.6-liter V6. And it's also standard on the sport trim level like we have here. That's good for 310 horsepower, 271 pound-feet of torque. You can get either front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive with the premium luxury trim, but the sport will come standard with all-wheel drive. And again, that'll come hooked up to a 9-speed automatic. Pretty tidy under here, very small engine cover, so you can get a look at the V6 under the hood. Also, lots of sound deadening on the firewall as well as the hood, so that is good to see. And we'll see how this 3.6 performs on the road. You have a full powered liftgate on the XT5, and once it's up, you have a nice big opening to a pretty big storage area. A couple of accessories in this car too. We have kind of a cargo divider that you can move back and forth, as well as a cargo shade that you can put in place right over here. Protects the prying eyes from taking a look at your cargo. A couple of other really neat features. We have these handles right here, which you can pull and will fold down the rear seats at a 60-40 split. You can see the other one over here. You also have LED lights to each corner, as well as a power outlet on the driver's side. And you also have some anchors towards the end of the truck. Now, if you lift this up, we can get a quick sneak peek at the spare tire back here. Not a whole lot of storage underneath the trunk floor, but at least you have a spare tire. You also have another light right here next to the latch, and you have a button to close down the trunk. Taking a look at the rear seats of the XT5, you can see that Cirrus colored leather interior. It's almost like this cream kind of beige color, very light beige, but very nice materials back here. We have soft touch all the way up here and some leather down here on your armrest. This carbon fiber look trim. We also have a 14 speaker Bose audio system, a couple of speakers on the door, and a nice storage cubby back here. Now we can actually slide these rear seats back and forth at, again, a 60-40 split with this little bar back here. And we can also fold them down with this handle. So they will fold down flat to match the cargo area, so you have even more room for your cargo. And we can also fold down the center armrest with 2 cup holders. As you can see, there is a panoramic sunroof in this car, and the shade is closed. And we can hop in and see how much room we have back here. I am 5'10", and I have a pretty good amount of space back here. I'd say at least 3 or 4 inches. And I did adjust this driver's seat to a comfortable driving position. Now, first thing you'll notice back here is you definitely have some pretty vaulted seating, meaning you sit pretty high up in the rear seats. On the back of the center console, we have the optional 3-zone climate control, so we can adjust where the air comes out, turn on and off, a fan speed, and a temperature back here with 3-stage heated seats for both the outer seats. We also have some pretty cool map pockets back here as well. We have illumination, grab handles, and a pretty good view out the panoramic roof once it's open. Now that the rain has decided to come in, let's take a look at the driver's door. We have the same materials up here, so nice soft to the touch, nice leather, and some carbon fiber trim with bright work. We have 2 of the Bose speakers again on the driver's door, your lock and unlock buttons, memory settings for 2 people, and your easy exit mode. Take a look over here. We have all of our window adjustments, your mirror controls with the power folding function, and a bit of storage too down below. You also have the button right here for your powered trunk, so you just press it in and it'll open. You can set it up to a maximum opening, a 3/4 way, or turning off the power function altogether. On the driver's side of the dash, we have our air vent with some trim, powered the electronic parking brake, gauge dimmer, and all of your heads-up display controls. Then we also have our button for the power tilt telescoping steering wheel. We have our nice bright pedals down here and our hood release off to the left with the now kind of wet Cadillac sill plate. We have full power controls with your lumbar and very nice attention to detail to the seats. I have a little Cadillac crest right here and stitching all over with perforations on the inside. Speaking about inside, let's hop in now out of this rain. All right, now that we're out of the rain, let's take a look at the key. It is the older Cadillac style key fob, but it's really lightweight and easy to slip in and out of your pocket. We have the lock unlock, remote start, trunk release, and the panic alarm. We also have this little button on the side to release a physical key. We of course have push button start right behind the steering wheel. And let's take a look at the steering wheel itself. We have a nice leather wrap design with these kind of big arms that come down towards the bottom and a really small airbag cover. It gives it a pretty neat appearance for the steering wheel for sure. And you even have some of that carbon fiber trim towards the bottom. Over here we have all of our adaptive cruise control settings, as well as our voice commands and Bluetooth phone. Down below we have our front collision warning, as well as lane assist buttons, which we could turn on and off, as well as your heated steering wheel. On this side we have a button, two buttons to change your different radio stations, and our 4 quadrants with the select in the center to adjust what we see in the digital portion of the gauges, as well as a plus and minus for your audio volume. Now behind the steering wheel and attached to them are, take a listen, real metal paddle shifters, so that is a pretty nice touch. Behind the steering wheel we have a couple of stalks, again this one for your turn signals, headlights, and automatic high beams. And to the other side are front and rear wipers. Now we have a pretty traditional setup of gauges here with the tachometer over here and speedometer right over here with a digital portion in the center. You also have your fuel gauge right over here, and it looks like coolant temperature right there. But for the most part, our digital dash is the center of attention here. So we have what's going on with your all-wheel drive system, your current speed limit on the road that you're on, a digital speedometer. We also have a compass and your current time, and then towards the bottom you have distance till empty for the fuel, your odometer, and also what gear you're in at the bottom. Now everything that you see in the center is adjustable with these 4 quadrants here. So kind of at the moment you're seeing a kind of average fuel economy and some trip settings. You can move down to see a trip 2, your fuel range, oil life, tire pressures, air filter, a bunch of good stuff. And if we go over, you could see the audio screen, navigation, phone, and a bunch of settings. So obviously once you have the audio and navigation up, they will all kind of switch to corresponding information. Now we also have a heads-up display. I'm pretty sure you can see right here where the heads-up display projects. We again have all of the adjustments for the heads-up display right over here. Kind of adjust the view up and down, get different information pages, and adjust the brightness. Now there are a couple of screens. The one we're looking at right now is the tachometer with the speed. You can get one that just has the speed as well as navigation directions, so pretty cool. Nice upper dash with this kind of sleek profile surrounding a couple of air vents here, and some nice dimpled leather on the dashboard. Pretty small screen by today's standards, but it does have a ton of useful information. You kind of have a home button right over here. We just kind of accept our little demonstration things right here. We could move over to our home screen, which houses your phone at the bottom, the radio right here, and at the top what your climate control is doing with a little screen for navigation. Now there are a couple of things to the sides of the screen which are kind of a touch sensitive button. We can turn on and off our parking sensors, as well as activate our parallel parking assist. We can turn on and off your auto start stop, as well as your hazards. But moving over, we can quickly take a look at the audio screen where your presets will be up top, source to the side, and what's playing in the center. And you can also adjust the sound settings. We have our phone and navigation screens, which does have built-in navigation, which is awesome. You can see the map looks pretty good, and then we can enter in our address up top. We have a Wi-Fi hotspot in this vehicle. You can also set up different users, go through all of the bunch of different settings, and we also have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, of course. We can pull up our climate control here for the front. So we have our 2 temperatures, fan speed up top in the center where the air blows, and then kind of our AC settings in at the bottom, and then you can also access your rear climate control from up front too. And there's kind of a toggle on your climate screen to configure that. We can also pull up our camera system, which is, again, 4 cameras all the way around the car to kind of see what your eyes may not be able to see with the top-down view. We also have the front view, which we could change to the rear. We can also zoom in to the front or the rear as well, and then get our front and the rear wheels so you don't curb them. And once you're in the rear or front view, you can toggle on and off your guidance lines and also toggle on and off your top-down view, so you get a better kind of concentrated view there, I guess you could say. That pretty much does it for a quick overview of the screen. You also do have some shortcuts down there: exterior temperature and time, and then a mute button too for the screen. Taking a look down below, we have our climate controls, which houses most of the controls for the climate that you need. The only thing that you need to go into the touchscreen to adjust is where the air comes out. Otherwise, you have both of the front temperatures right here and the fan speed in the center. Now, you have heated and cooled seats in this car, which is very nice, and kind of the rest of your climate controls with your defrosters and digital display for both of the temperatures. Little storage pocket right below, and we have our electronic gear shift for the 9-speed automatic, which we have a little unlock button right there. We can bring it straight down into drive, and one more bump will put it into manual mode, where you can start using the paddle shifters. And we can put it straight up into reverse, in which your backup camera will pop up. And then right at the top of the shifter, we have the P for park. Right in back of the shift lever, we have the small knob for your volume and the larger knob as kind of a repeat control for the screen. So you can use it either as a kind of joystick control or as a touchscreen. So it's a pretty cool idea, and some shortcuts around it. We turn on and off our traction control and also pull up our different driving modes. We have touring, all-wheel drive, sport, and off-road, which is pretty neat. And we also have some hidden cup holders, which you could slide back like that. Nice center console lid with some stitching in leather, and that kind of reveals your wireless charging for your phone, so you can just slide it in there. We do have a cubby which you can remove, and that will show you your USB, USB-C, and SD card inlet, and a pretty good amount of space in there. Taking a look at the passenger area, we have Brightwork, carbon fiber, and some more of that dimpled leather on the dash. And you also have some lockable glove box storage, all felt lined and illuminated. See, we have some more speakers on the A-pillar sides and a full black headliner. Our visors have mirrors and lights inside. We also have our center stack here, which will have a bunch of controls, including your sunshade and sunroof controls. We have some tap illumination, all of our OnStar SOS buttons, more illumination controls up here, your garage door openers, and a deactivation button for the interior sensors. Now that the panoramic sunroof is opened up, we can see it definitely lightens up the interior. Although a light interior already helps, the extra sunlight kind of lightens it up just one extra step more. We have one more feature I'd like to check out before we go on our test drive, and that is our rear view camera mirror. So we could turn it into a camera by just flipping the switch, and then back to a regular mirror by flipping it forward. So that's a pretty neat feature. But that pretty much does it for all the features on the 2024 XT5. Let's take this out on the road and see how it drives. Alright, let's take the Cadillac XT5 out for a little drive. Now, first things first, we're going to take it up these hills through this kind of neighborhood here, but we will get a chance to put the XT5 through its paces a little bit. Throughout this video, we're going to get it out onto a back road after this one, so we'll see how it performs there on a nice smooth back road. Then we'll get it onto a more high-paced road, kind of two-lane highway, so we'll see what it's like up at 50 miles an hour, things like that, kind of get a good grip on how everything sounds and feels up at that speed. And then we'll wind up at the last portion of the video, and we will do a quick 0 to 60 test to see how fast this XT5 gets up to speed with the V6 under the hood. And we'll also follow up with a quick braking test to see how those Brembo brakes bite down and bring this car to a stop, or I should say close to a stop on the road. So we'll definitely get a good feel of this car by the end of the video. Now, first thing I wanted to point out, driving the XT5, now it might not be the most updated vehicle in its segment, but there is one thing that this Cadillac does really well, and it is comfort and quietness. It is just so comfortable in here with the suspension, even though it's the sport trimmable, and it's also just extremely quiet. You know, the tires you don't get a whole lot of noise from, and the just the overall sound levels in this car are just very muted, which is makes for a pretty nice driving experience. Now, this of course does have the V6 under the hood, which is naturally aspirated, but it's rated at 310 horsepower, so you always kind of have that power that you need at any variation of the engine speed, or RPM I should say. So you always have that power to get you out of whatever situation you're in. And this also has a 9-speed automatic, which is quick enough to react. It's not the quickest transmission out there, but it definitely provides pretty smooth shifts with a pretty quick shift as well. So now that I've been driving it for a few minutes, I can say that these seats are pretty comfortable. They have a good amount of give, and they're also a very nice looking seat too, with this Cirrus color. It's almost kind of like a very light beige, but definitely a nice seat for this car. And you also have the 4-way lumbar that helps out with comfort. And you can adjust the front of the seat that goes up and down, so you can really get pretty comfortable in this car. The heads-up display is also pretty awesome. I'm not sure if you could see it at the angle that you're at, but you can dim it, you can adjust it, so it's a pretty nice heads-up display on this car. Just taking it around this back road is definitely pretty comfortable and quiet. Now, this V6 engine also has cylinder deactivation, so in certain times where you don't need a whole lot of power, I can show you here where it says V6 in the screen there. You'll see it as it just changed now, very conveniently. It changed to V4, so it kind of cuts 2 cylinders, gets you a little bit better fuel economy, and you can barely notice the difference at all. It changes over nice and quickly. And we also have a pretty tight corner here, and no problems with the turning circle. Now, this is more of our main straight road here, so I'll hopefully get it up to about 50 miles an hour, traffic depending, and we'll see what it's like up at those speeds. And I have to say, pretty impressive. It's almost the same tire noise and wind noise as it is up at like 30 miles an hour, so this is pretty good sound deadening from Cadillac. Not a whole lot of intrusion as far as noises go from the engine too. As I pointed out, lots of sound deadening material under the engine compartment as well. So all we have left to do now is see how the power is from this V6. All right, so we don't have a whole lot of people around, so I dropped it into sport mode, and we're gonna do our acceleration test. Now, sport mode actually locks us into all-wheel drive, so let's see how fast we can get this up to 60. So pretty fast sprint to 60. The 3.6 liter V6 has plenty of grunt. The 9-speed automatic did its job shifting pretty quickly, and the brakes bite pretty darn good. As you can remember, we have that nice Brembo setup for the sport model. But that pretty much does it for the video and the entire review on the Cadillac XT5 for 2024. I thank each and every one of you for watching, and I hope you stay with us here at Tide Drives for more videos just like this one.